energy, but the sharing of the network, intelligent energy, saves pricing, enables us to share our energy, share our electricity. There are more and more consumer devices now in America which enable us to manage our own electricity intelligently. The same is true of healthcare. Everything is about the intelligent management of data. The healthcare revolution is all about looking after ourselves. The old certainties of the healthcare system, of going to a doctor, of a centralized system, of bowing down to the authority of the doctor, will quite quickly, I think, become history. So what does the medical revolution do? It gives us new devices that allows us to monitor ourselves. Again, it empowers the consumer, but needs to empower the intelligent consumer. Because no longer will we be able to afford or have the luxury of going to doctors. Increasingly, the internet enables us to become a doctor. With these devices, we have as much intelligence or power as any other doctor, and we can share our data with others. Privacy, of course, is again central. If you think about how we're using these devices like Fitbit, how does this impact on insurance? I'm not sure whether Maybank's involved in the insurance business, but at what point do insurance companies have the right to acquire our personal data so that they should or shouldn't give us personal insurance, health insurance, if they know that we're eating that hamburger, or those French fries, or that Coca-Cola, or smoking? So this balance between privacy and personal data and health will become one of the big issues. And perhaps banks could become places of trust. Banks have historically been places which people trust. The new banks of the 21st century will be banks perhaps of data. And perhaps one way to rethink the banking industry is, in the old industrial age, value lay in currency. But ironically, in the 21st digital century, increasingly value lies in data. So banks can become places which look after our data, that protect our data, in the same way as banks in the traditional age looked after and protected our money. We trust banks, we go to them. I'll give them cash because I know they're not going to run off with it. I trust them. That's, of course, one of the scary things about bank hysteria, bank runs, is suddenly we lose trust, because after all, there's no essential reason why we should trust banks. But the whole banking sector is based on trust, historically. Without trust, it doesn't exist, because no one would trust them with their cash. But as data becomes more and more valuable, so I think banks can play a role, not only in housing data, but in protecting privacy. Medical data, personal data, movement data, financial data. Education is huge too. The great revolution in the moment in Silicon Valley is funding education startups, because the old credibility and authority of the university and schools are being swept away. Consumers in America are increasingly questioning why they should spend $50,000 a year on getting an education which can be free. What's interesting about the education challenge is how to monetize education in this new age. One of the dangers of a lot of the education startups in America is they're giving their knowledge away for free. There are these things called MOOCs, multi-online communities, in which people are getting knowledge for free. One of the challenges of the education change is monetizing content. The newspaper, music industry struggled with that. Banking industry doesn't struggle with this as much. But certainly when it comes to education, how are we going to pay educators? How can we guarantee that the new education economy is viable, that it's actually paid for, that educators will be rewarded for their labor? So watch education very carefully. In America in particular, it's about to be radically blown up. Billions of dollars are going into the education sector, things like Khan economy, where anyone can go to be educated. But they still don't have viable business models. That's one of the scariest things about Silicon Valley, is that these companies become viral, they have huge audiences, but no real consumers. And again, the only way in which they can make money is by acquiring our data and selling it to advertisers. I don't want to see more Googles and Facebooks in education. Now, this is the moment you've all been waiting